Give me a quick pointer real quick.
Yeah, let me just see.
And I just got off the plane too, so
Okay.
I'm kind of fresh and I haven't warmed up or anything like that.
Any other excuses?
This glove is brand new. I'm really not a brand new glove person. You know what I mean?
Because this is where you get the tempo.
Exactly.
This is not about power, right?
Exactly.
I mean, who cares if you hit this 120? If you can't hit it within...
I got some friends that are pretty toxic that care about, tell me they hit their 56 degree 130 yards,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I fall into the trap sometimes.
Yeah. Hey yo, so check this shit out. Roger Steele back again with another episode of Range Talk with another guest that I'm probably not quite qualified to be interviewing. But let this be a lesson to you all. Ask for the things you want. Usually the worst people could say is no, unless you asking for drugs and then you could get arrested. But today we got the GOAT by the name of Annika Sorenstam, Miss 59 resume longer than 18 holes at a Muni on a holiday weekend, What did you ask her, Roger? Great question. For an autograph, obviously, duh, because I'm not stupid. But I asked her about some high points in her career, things she's working to change in the game, and what's next for her game, Do she have more jet fuel in the tank? And also for some tips on my wedges, because my wedge game got me on the verge of asking Callaway for an advance. Apparently gambling not a problem unless you're really bad at it. So sit back, relax, and check out me and Annika the GOAT on Range Talk.
Annika, thank you so much for doing this with me. This is amazing. And before we get started, I need you to autograph this happily.
I'll be happy to. Thank you.
I made the mistake of not getting a picture with Xander and his gold medal, so I got to make sure that I get an autograph from the GOAT,
Yes, I gotta say.
Completely shameless too. I'm not too ashamed to ask for autographs on camera, so just so y'all know, this is the type of person that I am.
And I'm glad that you're here.
Thank
you
so much.
Yeah.
So tell me how you feel. Like, I just called you the GOAT. How do you feel being called the GOAT of women's golf? Is that something that you accept? Is that something you're comfortable with?
I do now, but the first time somebody called me the GOAT, I didn't really know what to expect because I was thinking about the animal.
You took offense to it?
Yeah, I was like,
okay.
What? I was going, what? And then they explained it. I said, you know what? That is such a big compliment. So yeah, I feel very honored. Thank you for saying that.
Exactly. So, because I read these stories about when you were a little girl and then you used to play in tournaments and you actually used to miss putts to stay out of the spotlight. You know what I mean? So I didn't know how, if you matured past that or...
I guess maybe I'm matured, or maybe I've gotten used to it. I mean, I take it as a nice compliment, but when growing up, I'm still quite shy by nature. My goal wasn't to be up there on stage and be seen and be heard. I mean,
Right.
My goal was to hit shots and trying to be the best I could. So once I got past that, it's okay.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about growing up in golf, for you, because I heard that you were a multi-talented athlete. You really could have did quite a few other things. How did you know that golf was the thing for you?
Well, I'm a late bloomer. I mean, you work with a lot of kids. You see, these kids are 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Right.
I started playing tennis when I was 5.
Right.
Worked really hard. Started to compete when I was 8. I did downhill skiing. I played soccer. I did everything with the ball. I just loved. I come from a very active family, and so tennis was the thing. Golf was at the time felt like it was for old people, slow people. There was no action, right?
Nothing's really changed about that. I think that some of those sentiments still remain.
Yeah, it's just, but I think, the more you play, you realize what a wonderful game it is and how you can play golf all your life. But, when I was 12, I was introduced to the golf. My parents loved to play. We would go out and just chip and putt a little bit, get an ice cream here and there, and that was kind of their, that's how they got me into the game. But at the age of 16, I decided to stop playing all kinds of sports and just focus on golf. So again, I was a late bloomer.
What even went into that decision though? I feel like that's still pretty, it's young relatively speaking to just haul off and commit to something that deeply, but was it, was it the success you were seeing? Was it,
I think I was burned out in other things. So by being burned out in tennis, it was not as fun.
Right.
A lot of hard work, working hard since so young, 4 or 5 times a week and just feeling like I really didn't get anywhere. Golf, I felt like I really didn't put in a lot of time and I got better. And then I realized, you can work on your wedge game, you can work on your driver, you can work on there were so many elements of the game that I felt like, I have so much to learn. So I think that intrigued me by trying to figure out how can I get better every part of the game.
So I think that that's something that all of our viewers need to take note of. You said that it didn't take you a lot of time to get better. I think that that's the opposite experience for the rest of the world. That's how we know that she built different. Okay, I get that. So your resume is just flat out impeccable.
Wow, you're too sweet. Thank you.
I'm just stating facts here. Matter of fact, I think that we should like do a cutaway and just have all your accomplishments just roll across, screen, because it'll probably take the rest of the episode for us to get through all of that stuff. But as you look over your career now, and I know you're still playing, you're still doing things, you know, on the competition side. But like, what's some of the things that are the most like important to you as far as your legacy? Like, what are some of the playing accomplishments that are like the things that stand out? Like, I'm so proud of myself, like, for these things.
Yeah, no, you know, thanks for asking. I mean, I am certainly very proud looking back at my career.
Right.
You know, I played for 17 years, and it was literally a dream come true for a young girl coming from Sweden, you know, coming to the US, be able to play with the very best, college opportunity, trying to get an education, and then take the big step of becoming a professional, playing at the very highest level, and then winning a tournament, and then achieving my goals, whether it was winning a major or being player of the year, and then being inducted in the Hall of Fame in 2003. You know, just it was one thing after another, and it just kept me going, and it kept me pushing myself, setting new goals, you know, racing the bar and trying to be a trailblazer in different areas, and feel like, you know, opening up the doors for others that also had dreams of achieving something. And I feel like it really has been a fairy tale. I know that sounds funny, but you know, this country has given me so many opportunities to fulfill my dream. And then when I stopped in 2008, it was a natural thing to say, how can I do that for somebody else? How can I help them, pave the way for them to be able to do it? And it's just been, you know, whether shooting 59, playing with the men, I mean, I'm super, you know, proud of what I've achieved, but also hopefully that inspires others to push, you know, whatever limits they want to push.
As somebody that's never came close to sniffing a 59, could you talk to me about what that was like?
Yeah.
I mean, I know you shot your fair share of low scores. Is 59 even the lowest score you've ever shot? I know that's the lowest.
Yeah, it's my lowest. You know, I'm a player that I play better when there's some pressure.
Exactly.
And so, you know, a lot of people go out there and they play practice round and they shoot super low. To me, I need something. I need something on the line. I need something. You know, it's like a boxer. You get in a ring. If you don't focus, I mean, you're down. Yeah. So I'm one of those where my focus is better when there is really something up there. But I mean, it was March 16th, 2001.
2001. I remember that.
Second round of the Pings. I think it was Standard Register Ping, it was called, in Phoenix, Moon Valley. And I got off to a good start. I remember birding the first 4 holes, and I turned to my caddy and I said, how many birdies in a row have you made? And have you seen? He said, I've seen 4. I said, well, you know, I've made 6 before. I was at the British Open.
You talking about this on the course?
On the course,
in the midst of you shooting the 59.
Yeah, so
come on, I wouldn't even been talking if I made 4 birdies in a row.
We'd be all focused. But he said, I've seen 4. I said, well, I can make 6 birdies in a row. I've done it before. So I make 6, I make 7, and then I make 8 birdies in a row. And I never forget, I get to the 9th tee, and I turned to my caddy and I said, I'm super nervous now, I need to make par. And he was like, okay. So I hit the fairway, I hit the green, 2-putt, and I make par. So I make the turn at 8 under. We get to number 10, and at that time I'm feeling ready again. I said, I'm ready for more birdies. And he said, okay. So I birdied 10, 11, 12, and 13. So I'm 12 under after 13 holes, and then I made 1 more birdie coming in, and had a putt for 58.
So did you back off? Like, did you talk yourself into backing off after you got to 12? It was just kind of like, okay,
this is enough. Yeah. No, I mean, I did on the 9th though. I wonder what the score would have been differently if I would have just kept on going.
Yeah.
Obviously, we would never know, but it was just one of those. I mean, I hit 18 greens.
Exactly.
You get a lot of chances, but yeah, it was one of those rounds. You're like, why can't I do it again?
I just got to compliment you for your humility and thinking about everybody else by saying, I'm not going to shoot a 56 today You know what I mean? Because sometimes when you set those goals out there too far, because you broke so many records and set so many goals, you set it out too far, you really demoralize people. They don't even want to try anymore. You know what I mean?
It's supposed to inspire them.
Yes, I think a 59 is like the perfect inspirational number. So kudos to you for just, you know,
thank you.
for just stopping right there. And another thing you mentioned was playing with the men. Now that was an interesting one.
Yes.
Tell me some of the things that went into you making the decision.
Yeah,
to even
so that
compete there.
was, you know, just quickly a little background. Growing up in Sweden, the club where I, you know, grew up with, they were mostly young boys.
Right.
And my sister, she's 2.5 years younger. The two of us would practice with all the boys at the club. That was our friendship. That was our circle of friends. And I really never thought about it differently. I mean, if we didn't keep up, you know, the boys would make sure that we did.
Exactly.
So, you know, coming over here and then practicing, and, you know, I would practice with some of the PGA guys that lived in the neighborhood. It was more of learning and figuring out how I can get better. This was now in 2003 in January, and I had been #1 for a while, and I felt like I could still get better. I mean, I hadn't reached my full potential, and I was thinking, what do I need to do to find that full potential? You know, how do you push yourself? What are the goals? How do you go about it? And I was at a press conference, and a journalist said, would you ever want to play with a man? And I thought, that's it. That's it. I said, yes, I would love to do that. So
a journalist gave you the idea. They planted the seed in your head.
I mean, because you know, again, growing up playing with the boys, it was like, okay, well, you play from A to B. I can't hit it as far. You know, I don't have the club head speed, but you can still play golf.
Right.
So I had 4 months to get ready. The tournament that I decided to play was Bank of America Colonial.
Right.
And outside Dallas. And it was the coolest thing. It really was. I look back at that as one of my highlights, not because of necessarily my score. I mean, I did have a chance to
make the cut.
Yeah, and also almost shot under par the first day. But just kind of the journey toward it, how you get ready, how do you prepare, how do you, you know, put you in a situation that, you know, you've never been in, and then getting there to the course. I mean, one of the benefits, I was the only one in the women's locker room. Like, there was no crowds.
all of the side, all that room to yourself.
Can just, but the guys were so nice. I mean, 99% of them were just as cool as they could be. They came up to the range. Let me help you. Do you know how to hit a fade? Do you know how to hit a draw? Do you?
Well, that's condescending. You're the world #1 at this time. They shouldn't be asking you questions like that.
I said, I'm okay.
Exactly. So you said 99%.
Yeah.
There were some people that didn't have the most positive things to say. How did that make you feel going into the event?
You know, so, I mean, I've always been quite open-minded, meaning, you know, first of all, this was different, right? This was something new. And a lot of times when people don't know, you know, they put kind of the barrier up. It's like, this is, why is she here? And, you know, but I try to explain to them the intention of was for one golfer to become better by learning from other golfers.
Exactly.
And I said, you know, if I can learn from them and bring that back to the LPGA, I think that's just going to elevate women's golf. It wasn't like, okay, this is women against men. It had nothing to do with it. It was just more a golfer to another golfer. And I got better. I really did. I mean, it was, you know, learning more about myself and, you know, pushing myself, and it helped me to, you know, when the time was right to leave my career, knowing that I had tried everything. I had done everything I wanted.
No stone unturned.
Exactly. And I think that's the bigger picture. But yeah, I think by the end of the tournament, people realized, you know what, it wasn't such a bad thing. I mean, every tournament has invites. Every tournament gives an opportunity to someone local, somebody else, and it creates a little story to it, and it was really, really neat.
And so when you look at, you know, first of all, let me ask you, what was the biggest difference between playing conditions that you were seeing out there on the LPGA Tour and then when you went to the PGA Tour? What did you notice? Obviously the length of the course, but
that's probably, I mean, that's the biggest thing. So this was in 2003, as we know, a lot of things have happened as far as distance.
Exactly.
But, you know, this course in particular was more about accuracy. It was more about placing it in a certain time.
So it was strategic that you picked that event too,
I mean, I wasn't going to go to like a Pebble Beach when everybody has a driver.
Exactly.
You know, and that's the thing with golf is, I mean, certain courses fit you, certain courses fit me.
I haven't found the courses.
You haven't now?
No, not yet. I'm still on the search.
We're still looking. I'm sure there's something out there. But you know, I think, you know, just the speed of the greens and the firmness. You know, so here, you know, they come in, they hit the ball at higher, a little more speed, they can stop the ball. At that time, already hole locations were a little more tucked.
Right.
You see it now more on the LPGA. I mean, they have gone from center to, you know, 3 paces left or short, so it's a little difficult. But that's what I realized at that time, to tuck them, to make it. But speed of the greens, the firmness, and then a little bit of the rough.
Right.
So But that's just, as you know, it's the evolution of the game, and with great technology, I mean, you can do these type of things.
And so, like, if just hypothetical question, if you had taken some more starts on the PGA Tour, is that an environment that you could have acclimated yourself to?
It's hard to tell.
Come on, give me. I know it's. Come on.
I mean, but I mean, the thing is, you jump in an environment you're like totally new to.
You're brand new, right?
So,
that was your first. That was your.
Well, that was the thing. They said, "Do you want to play more?" And I said, "You know what? I have a tour. I mean, I was a member of the LPGA. I had a place to play.
Right.
I think you would adapt to anything that you do more often.
You would adapt.
So, but to me, I mean, to make the cut and finish 40th, 50th.
Yeah. What does that mean?
Yeah. So I mean, I love to be in the hunt. There's nothing better than playing Sunday in the last group, playing against your peers.
Right.
And having, I mean, that to me it's anybody can go out there and play when you don't have a chance to win. You go down there and you have a chance to win. That's when pressure, and that's the pressure that I like.
Okay, I get that.
Okay.
I get that. I still think that you would have won one if we gave you enough stabs at it. But I mean, okay, you could take the humble route. Hit a couple wedges for me. I just want to see you hit a few shots. I'm gonna get my wedge too. Matter of fact. So,
I spend a lot of time with my wedges. Do you spend time with your wedges?
No, ma'am.
Where do you spend your time?
I'm trying to swing out my shoes.
Out of your shoes, okay.
Yeah. This will probably service me a lot better though, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
when I randomly do hit a good drive, I should be able to put it somewhere close to the hole.
Well, beat that one, all right?
Let me just show you this.
Yeah,
and just give me a quick pointer real quick.
Yeah, let me just see.
And I just got off the plane too, so
okay.
I'm kind of fresh and I haven't warmed up or anything like that.
Any other excuses?
This glove is brand new. I'm really not a brand new glove person. You know what I mean?
You look good otherwise.
All right.
There we go. Yeah.
Let me just.
Look at that. Maybe you should get off the plane.
Come on.
What? All right, what's next?
You don't understand how much pressure that was for me to just do that.
You look cool and calm.
Come on. But give me some high level, because I always like to put something in here for my amateur friends that's looking to get better at the game. From a scoring perspective, what's something that you think about on these scoring shots?
Well, first of all, I don't think people spend enough time with the wedges, because here's a shot, we're talking maybe 60 yards at the most. It's feel. There's some technique to it, but to having the consistency. People that have wedges in the hand, they always take a long swing and then they try to feel the distance by decelerating to 60
That's me.
But so shorter backswing,
right?
Accelerate through, and if you accelerate through, I think you can have more of a consistent ball flight, because it's very difficult to hit these wedges if one is high, one is low. They behave very differently. So I recommend to everybody that's not just watching here, but when they warm up, start with your wedges, because this is where you get the tempo.
Exactly.
This is not about power, right?
Exactly.
I mean, who cares if you hit this 120? If you can't hit it within...
I got some friends that are pretty toxic that care about, tell me they hit their 56 degree 130 yards, and I'm like, I fall into the trap sometimes.
And it's fun to hit long ways, but here, it's no more fun than going up there and tapping
it in.
Yeah, focus on, if you have a range like this, you have different targets, just warm up 10, 15 balls to different targets and get the feel for it and start accelerating through.
Right.
Accelerating through is a sign of confidence. Accelerating through is that you are committed to a shot.
Exactly.
When you when you decelerate, it's like, oh, let's hope it gets there somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. You're trying to back off of it into like a positive result. They usually don't work that well.
No, but right now you're 1 for 1.
I'm not doing anymore.
So no, maybe we should move on.
Yeah, we're moving on.
Leave it at the top.
But let me get back into these questions I have for you. So now you had that experience on the PGA Tour, and you did some other real cool exhibition things with guys too. And I thought that you were like a great advocate for like what the game could look like when we start to do more like co-ed events and the mixing of things. Like what's kind of your take on how we can get back to doing some of that type of stuff? Because I think it was so cool to see you out there.
Thank you. No, it was cool. It was cool being part of it. And you know what? I think what was cool about it also, the guys that I did it with, they seemed to enjoy it too.
Exactly.
I mean, Tiger he could not have been any nicer. I mean, he was like, he welcomed it. We practiced together, and he picked my brain, I picked his brain, and we had obviously different strengths.
Yeah.
But together I felt like, I can help him, he can help me, and because we both had the desire to be as good as we possibly can.
Ghosts recognize ghosts, you know?
And it's fun. I mean, I learned from them, and but even, you know, somebody like, you know, Phil Mickelson I played with, and, you know, Fred Funk was great. Couples were awesome, and it's, you know, we had fun. It was competitive, but it was enjoyable, and also, and I think they did appreciate what I had done, and I don't feel like they felt threatened or anything. And I wasn't there. It was I was admiring them.
Exactly.
I mean, I admire them. I want to be like, hey, well, you teach me so I can take my game up here.
Exactly. And so now, you know, I know that I told you I did some work with the USGA and my boy Craig Annis, and they have like a huge focus, at least he had a huge focus on ways that we can grow, you know, women's golf. And, you know, looking at some of the things you've done and kind of looking at the way the game stands now, what are some of the opportunities for us to do that?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think girls golf, women's golf has come a really long way the last 15 years. And we used to have like of every junior golfer that started, only, you know, 14-15% was a girl. Now we're talking 35, so at least a third of all the juniors that's starting are young girls. And you know, if you know the importance of sports, you know the importance of getting kids out, away from devices, away from, you know, bad areas, and just hanging out with, you know, friends and having a good time is a good thing. So I think it's important to implement some of the values in golf into life, and as you know, there's a lot of synergy there with life. I mean, whether it's we're talking about persistence, focus, determination, all these things are just really, really important, I think, you use in life. And we can get more life lessons from the golf into these, the youth today. I think it's really important. So, you know, whether it's clinics, just introductory clinics, whether it's, you know, sharing tournament golf, whether it's, I mean, it's so many different things. And I mean, that's what I think when we talk about golf, a lot of people focus so much on just the competition. Within golf, there's so many things that you can do. You know, we hear it, you know, the Callaway commercial, and there's so much within the industry you can be part of. And I think young women and young girls, if they can see more of a future within golf, whether it's manufacturer, whether it's, you know, tournament division, or just, it's just, there's a lot, teaching as well, as you know. So I think, you know, we shouldn't be focused on just the performance. It's more about what can we do to get people in the community within golf and being out there and having a good time. Yeah,
and I mean, that's you know, easier said than done, especially with people like you. You know, we see what you've done, and it's like we all just aspire to like emulate that. You know what I mean? But I think that sometimes the competition is a good way to like bait the kids in, and then we can kind of show them other things that they could do, like in the sport, once we get them, like, you know, when they're falling in love with it.
And you know, I mean, also I'm sure some things that you notice in Chicago, I don't know what the accessibility to golf courses, but there are new things like Top Golf. We were talking about Top Golf earlier. What a fun way to bring people into the game, you know, using technology, using all the fun data out there, and having competition at different levels, whether you're professional or maybe not even have hold the golf club before. You see these people come up there and they rip it. It's kind of fun.
It's a fun place to be trash at golf. It really is. You can still have fun and be trash. So getting back to the story, you ready to get out of the game. What told you, like, what kind of, like, you know, told you, like, hey, it's time for me to get out? Was it just a passion thing? I imagine the skill was still there.
Yeah, I think my motivation disappeared. I had achieved more than I ever thought that I could. I mean,
you did a lot.
Joining the tours, like, can I win one? And then, you know, fast forward, I'd won 72, including 10 majors. It was like, well, you know, winning another tournament wasn't...
It didn't carry the same weight.
Exactly. And then knowing what it takes to do that. I mean, it's very competitive, and I felt like I started to have other interests. I had,
talk to me about your other interests, like as you were transitioning out.
It was a slow transition. I had an opportunity to design a golf course in China. So all of a sudden I'm thinking golf course design. My foundation, we started to think about giving back to the game through junior golf tournaments. I had a clothing line. I was looking into being partnered with a wine collection. So there was all these other things, but it was fun. I was getting excited about that, how I can, you know, I was getting married, I wanted to start a family, and all of a sudden it's like I'd be on the range here and I'd be hitting, and instead of just being laser focused on this target, I was like, you know, that par 4 over there in China, maybe the green should have a little bit, and it's like, well, I wasn't there anymore, you know, and I looked in the mirror and I said, you know what, it's okay. And the more I accepted that transition, I got super excited about what was next.
Right.
You know, I put my energy into all these other things, and then, yeah. So I mean, I haven't looked back, and because I think it was under my, what do you call it, my circumstances. It was my choice.
Right.
You know, some athletes are forced to retire, and then they always wonder, if I just could have been healthy another season, what could have I done? I don't have those question marks. I don't have, you know, I'm not worrying about it. It was like I did what I wanted, and I felt at peace when I left.
Exactly. So now with all of the things that you've accomplished, first of all, let me congratulate you on coming back to the game and then picking up that U.S. Women's Open win.
Thank you.
That was crazy. But with all of the things that you've accomplished since you left the game, with all of the charity work you've been doing, you know, being a family woman and a mother, what's some of the things that you're most proud about and looking forward to, like, you know, going forward in the game?
Yeah, I mean, obviously being a mom and a wife has been very so rewarding in so many ways. And you know, I'm lucky that I can say I've had a career, but also be able to do that. And
Right.
And so that's very fulfilling. But I also, you know, there's a part of me that want to continue to inspire others to live their, you know, whether you call it full potential or just be able to find their passions in their lives.
Right.
And kids come to mind because I think, you know, they need some guidance, they need some role models, but also some, if you can see it, I think it's easier to believe it.
Right.
So, I mean, you have to kind of, you got to do as you say. What's the expression? But I mean, you can't just say things and not do it. So,
Exactly.
So I go to all the events that we have. I want to be part of it. I want to be involved in it and put
You're
my
doing
little.
a lot of events globally too, right?
Yeah, no, I
you
just
know.
came from Argentina yesterday, but so I put my stamp of approval, like I'm here and I care about it. It's not just
Right.
something that happens over there. It needs to be authentic in what I believe in, and otherwise it's just, I don't feel like it has the same impact.
Right. Well, I just want to say thank you for, you know, not only inspiring me, but inspiring the entire, you know, community of golfers, and for continuing to push to leave the game of golf in the world better than you found
you.
it. This has meant so much to me, and thank you for inspiring me to hit that wedge shot.
Yes.
You know, maybe you should just watch me hit all my shots, and then I can shoot a
should,
59 one day.
yes.
Thank you so
You're
much.
awesome.
I
Thank you
appreciate
for having me. I
All right.
appreciate it.
And there you have it. So what did we learn today besides the fact that none of my homies' pockets, I say? We learned that Annika goatness runs so deep that she actually talked herself out of shooting the 59, which is so thoughtful of her because being a regular goat was enough for her apparently. And we also learned that new challenges are essential to reinvigorating the spark. So everybody go out there and get outside your comfort zones, you know, unless that involves crime of some sort, then I would like you to stay very comfortable. And we also learned just how amazing of a person Annika is on and off the course, from competing to impacting the future of the sport. Her legacy leaves no stone unturned. We cannot wait to see what's next, Annika. Thank you for everything.